Operation status quo. Operation status quo. Prepare to engage. Operation status quo. Ready to engage. Operation status quo. Engaged. Engaged. I got a little excited on that second engaged. 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 Oh my gosh, it's Wednesday. How the heck you doing out there, people? How my people out there doing today on a beautiful... Oh, hold on, I gotta lower down this that little music that I play. Hear that music when I play in the background when it starts? Is ooh, Operation Status Quo, don't you know? How we doing out there? How you feel? I asked that already. How you feeling? Let me know in the comments. Drop it in the chat. Tell me what you're doing out there on a beautiful Wednesday as we move through the week. It's November. Can you believe it? We're the last 2 months of 2023, and let's see what we have in store coming up in 2024. If we make it that far, we're going to make it that far. I've been joking a lot lately like that because, you know, they make it such a gloom and doom out there with all the war stuff going on and everybody getting blown up and, you know, what we're going to do and blah, 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 you know, but it gets a little too heavy, right? We don't need to be like that. Everything's always going to work out, ladies and gentlemen. Let me just make it clear, no matter what's going on in the world, no matter how chaotic or whatever it seems like is happening out there, you know, it's never as bad as it seems. That's the most important thing to remember. That's why we do Operation Status Quo, because we want to observe the status quo of life. We learn to flow with the status quo of life, and then we create our own flow of quo-yo, because that's the only way to go. And that's exactly what we do here. I did my little intro reverse. I'm Pete Palma. Usually I say that first and then I say Operation Status Quo, but we did a little flip-flop today. I am Pete Palma. I am your host, and you probably know me if you've been here before. Well, you at least know me in this capacity. And I appreciate you being back. And if you're new here, welcome. It's absolute pleasure to have you here with me today on Operation Status Quo. Oh my goodness, I see the red and the yellow, so I'm buffering. I'm gonna stay perfectly still. You know, when I buffer, I like to stay perfectly still. This way, it really doesn't interfere with anything that you're watching, unless you're counting the blinks of my eyes. Okay, we're back to green, so I should be pretty good now. I guess I see it. I'm looking on the screen. I can see the way the lights are going in the background. That's so funny. All right. Anyway, what are you going to do? We buff. Sometimes we buff, and that's just what's been going on. It's been happening. You know, maybe the internet is about to shut down too with all the nonsense going on in the world. They have to cut all communications so that we can't speak freely like this and communicate with one another. So that's just the way it goes. Well, anyway, today, ladies and gentlemen, is the, what is today? The 1st. I just said it's November. It's the 1st of November in the good year 2023. And today's program is entitled, I Won't Be Ignored. Do you remember that from, what was that? Glenn Close, right? Glenn Close in, oh gosh, what the hell's the name of the movie now? I can't believe it's slipping my mind. When she boils the rabbit. Fatal Attraction. Fatal Attraction. I Won't Be Ignored. If you have never saw that, go out and it's Michael Douglas and Glenn Close back in the, I guess that was probably back in the late 80s, if not the early 90s, but I think it might have been the late 80s, that movie. Either way, I won't be ignored. Because, you know, first of all, let me just say, you know, aside from everything we talk about here on Operation Status Quo, yeah, do we talk about what's going on in the world and, you know, get a little conspiratorial and do some of those things? Yeah, we do some of that stuff. But generally, this is a space for, aside from that, you know, personal development, personal improvement, personal awareness, like awareness of yourself, having responsibility for your thoughts and knowing what's going on inside your head and stuff. So, you know, we like to do some of these little tidbits of information because what we have here today are some reasons if you feel like you might be being ignored. Maybe you approach people and people don't want to talk to you. I said, maybe you're a real jerk. I don't know. You know what I mean? But aside from that, like sometimes, you know, you might have certain behaviors that would lead people to not want to associate with you so much. And of course, you know, this comes from mainstream media nonsense. So it is half tongue in cheek, ladies and gentlemen, but at the same time, it's still interesting to find out what types of reasons out there. If you are being ignored, why are you being ignored? So, you know, let's find out. That's what we're going. That's what we're diving into here today on Operation Status Quo. So we have some reasons here of why you might be being ignored. So the first one on the list is you're overwhelming, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. We've all been there, so excited about something that we can't help but share it with anyone who'll listen. But sometimes this enthusiasm can become too much. It's like being handed a gallon of water when you only asked for a glass. It's overwhelming. When every interaction you feel like when every interaction with you feels like a whirlwind, people might start to step back and just catch their breath. It's essential to find balance, engage in active listening, pick up on social cues, and remember, everyone operates at different energy levels. Make sure to match yours with the vibe of the room. I find this one funny because I wouldn't say I'm ever ignored per se, but I will agree that I could be like overwhelming. I have a high, energy level, and sometimes I'll just be talking, and sometimes I already know. In my past, just being around people that are more of a meek nature, sometimes I feel like, they're like, oh, they're getting buried to death under all my positive vibes. But I just think it's funny here that they say, engage in active listening. You see, again, this is what I'm talking about, how mainstream does shit, right? And the truth is, like, these are basic skills, social skills that should be taught from the beginning. Active listening. You're not just like hearing words come out of somebody's mouth and then waiting until there's enough of a gap for you to start interjecting what you want to say again. You should be receptive, active listening. They speak, right? You understand what they're saying. You reflect back. You understood what they said. You move on to the next topic. And it's also funny that they say to pick up on social cues. It's like, yeah, if somebody's like staring at the sky, or all of a sudden they're getting huffy in their breathing because they just feel like they're being overwhelmed, maybe it's a little sign for you to back off. These are all things that's, really, before I even do this whole list, I can sum it up with saying, if you just understood social cues and, were courteous with your fellow man, nobody probably would ignore you. But anyway, that's number one. You're overwhelming. So are you overwhelming out there? Try to calm down just a little bit, will you? They have different priorities. Let's see. Let's paint a picture. Oh, that sounds nice. I like painting pictures. Imagine you have a best friend who used to be your go-to for movie nights. Now this person is knee-deep in their new business and hardly has time. It's not that they value you any less, but the priorities have shifted. This happens to all of us when we get new jobs, dive into hobbies, start families. Remember, being busy doesn't mean I don't care about you. It just means I got a lot on my plate right now. And I'll speak to this because it's totally true. Like, especially from my perspective as a single person with no kids, and really, I've like just cast away any possible responsibilities that I could have because I don't want to be trapped in day-to-day life that way. I want to kind of be free to be able to kind of just go and do and wherever the day brings me. But I was always very courteous about that. Even a good friend of mine that I used to hang with before I moved here, he's got 5 kids. This guy. 5 kids, and I would say, like, well, I don't take it personal if he doesn't want to have a phone conversation or, doesn't have time to go out. I mean, it's more than obvious that you got, 5 kids and a wife and, a house to take care of, a job to do. So people, seriously, first of all, if you're feeling ignored out there, a lot of times I feel, just to how this is shaping up right off the bat, let's not be wimps out there. Okay. Like, oh, I'm being ignored. First and foremost, and I was just talking about this with someone the other day. It's time for people to stop worrying about what other people think, right? Or people pleasing in a sense of just doing because of whatever. Everybody's got to put their big boy or big girl pants on or whatever, or if you're a cross-dresser or you're not sure what gender you are, some sort of covering of the area that would be your genitals, whatever that is. You gotta put them on. Your big boy pants, your big boy skirt, whatever the frig you got. And it's like, it's not you don't have to explain yourself to anybody. That's what I always want to say. Like, we're always so worried about what other people are thinking. And, I heard a great quote today, actually, from someone who was speaking on a YouTube channel saying, quite honestly, it's none of your business what other people think about you. It's only your business to know what you think about you and be true with yourself. So don't worry about what other people think. Like, a lot of times, like, you feel bad, you want to, maybe just to say an example, maybe a friendship faded or some kind of thing happened where you don't communicate with a person so much and you feel, maybe I should explain to them or something like that. And you realize, like, there's nothing to explain. Like, what am I going to explain? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to get into the thought process I'm having. Like, because this has happened to me like a couple times, with people when all of a sudden I just kind of realized something and, I wind up going in another direction. And then I say to myself, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to call this person and tell them all the things I didn't like about them and why I'm not They don't feel like hanging out. Like, I don't want to do that. That's not nice either. I'm not trying to be an asshole and start like, and who am I? Like, I'm not perfect either. So, if you feel something and you vibe with something, it's just up to you to live true to you. Somebody wants to talk to you, they'll reach out and call. You know what I mean? I feel the same way. If it's meant to be to reconnect with somebody, it'll happen. You don't have to, push it out there. But, it's funny, like, just like, the way this is, like I said, the way this is shaping up, like, it's like, don't be like wimpy about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if people don't want to talk to you, or you find, somebody's ignoring you, then you realize, oh, this person doesn't want to talk, and you screw them and you go on to somebody else that does want to talk to you, right? Okay. You cause too much drama. That could be another issue. And that is for sure, because I will definitely ignore people that cause drama. I am not a drama guy. Do not deal with the drama. People always want to be like wrapped up in something, like, something happened, an argument with a coworker, or, a tension with a neighbor, or, whatever. The guy at the grocery store, looked at you crooked, or, I don't know, anything, just to complain. Like, even me living here in this community with the homeowners association, I'm a renter in this neighborhood, so it doesn't really affect me, but I hear people in the neighborhood, they'll start, complaining about the association and the things that they do. And it's just like, yeah, I get it. I was part of that, with my up where I lived before, in New Jersey, my condo, with the association, and I just never paid attention to the association because the association is, listen, I would love for you, somebody out there, wherever you are on this planet, if you found a homeowners association that's actually efficient and does a good job, and you have nothing to complain about, and you feel that the money is being spent, properly, let me know, because it's probably the only one in the world. It's like, it's the people who go on like the boards of the association, like people who live in the community and want to be on the boards in their association. They're just like, excuse me, I don't want to criticize, but I feel like they're usually blowhard, ego type people that, want to have a title, want to feel like, they're the boss and do. And they're the worst people. You should let no one who lives in the community be on the board, right? It should be everyone outside who doesn't have an interest. So it's not so biased. Let's see here. You never listen could be a reason why people ignore you, because you're just going on yapping about whatever you feel is important to you. And you don't take the time, as we said here in the beginning, to be an active listener and participate equally in conversations. So if you want to just keep, pounding it out and saying whatever you want to say, get a pet. You could do that with a dog. You can just talk all day long and the dog's just going to listen to you, right? You could do that with maybe a mannequin. You get a mannequin, you dress it up, you put different clothes on it each day so you feel like you're talking to a different person, right? But otherwise you can take the time to listen. Did you genuinely listen, or were you rehearsing your next point? See, is what they're saying. That listening is a skill, and developing it can improve your relationships tenfold. I mean, this is like, basics 101. This is like, you should be taught this before, like, you're walking, right? Like, you have to, you how to communicate with your fellow human beings. But we do know the way the world is today, and the way the powers that be have structured technology in our mainstream society, they've purposely pushed people apart and have regressed horribly in human communication skills and, just basic human capacity. I don't know what to say. It's just it's a sickness out there. As much as the technology is a wonderful thing, it's also contributed to, like, pudding brains. I think that's my new term. I just came up. I'm going to give a round of applause. I like that. Pudding. You're a pudding head. You're a pudding head. Like the Three Stooges call him pudding head. Got pudding brains out there. Hey-o. Oh, my gosh, that's too much. Okay, so what else we got here? They're just rude. Some people might just be rude and don't want to talk to you. It's a tough pill to swallow, but sometimes people are distant because they're just not kind. It might not be about anything you did or said. Some people deal with their insecurities or issues by projecting them onto others. And when this happens, it's essential to differentiate between constructive criticism and plain rudeness. Always remember, your worth isn't determined by someone's inability to see it. Surround yourself with those who value and uplift you. It's so funny to me that's got to be explained. It's just it cracks me up. But are people ignoring you? I mean, are they just rude people? What's going on? Let me know in the comments below. You come across as fake. That could be another one that kind of causes people to ignore you. I mean, do you feel you're being your genuine self? Are you being your genuine self? Either way, whether it being ignored or not being ignored, think about how you come across. Because, again, what we do on Operator Operation Status Quo, these are just observations too. I mean, we're having fun a little bit, but they're observations of behaviors that you could realize yourself. I mean, maybe you do feel people ignore you, right? And maybe you're trying to I like it when people ignore me. It makes it good. Hey, that's what this whole show's about. I'm ignored. Not only am I ignored by people in my everyday life, I'm ignored by the entire YouTube community. I'm ignored by the entire world. Do you understand how beautiful that? I mean, I really had to work up to that. I wasn't going to take just being ignored by common folk on the street and my friends and family. I want to be ignored by the world, damn it. And that's what we're doing here on Operation Status Quo. So, but do you come across as fake? Are you being, and the truth is, if just think about how you do come across, and are you a fake person? If you are, you're probably not really understanding this, because a lot of people feel like they got to portray some sort of being or essence, or I don't know, they got to put something forth to pretend that they're something that they're not, right? So that so they can build themselves up and feel like they get people to like them. But if you really want to get people to like you, don't be fake. Be exactly who you are. Be real. And maybe only find a couple people that like you. But those few people are going to be way more worth it than if you have like a bucket full of people that you're just pretending. You're always interrupting. Picture this. You're in the middle of sharing a heartfelt story and someone chimes in, cutting you off. Frustrating, right? Constantly interrupting others can be seen as dismissive or like you believe your point is more important. Sometimes it's not about malicious intent. Maybe you're just super eager or anxious, but it's vital to be aware of it. Practicing patience and giving others the space to express themselves can transform your interactions. So that is annoying when people interrupt. I've noticed that. I've gone through all this. And I'm the kind of person, like, I realize a person is that way, and I don't try to ever get my point across, because I realize they're not really, first of all, they're not really actively listening to what I'm saying. They just, they just want to get on to the next thing that they have to say. A great example of this is one of the guys that I worked with in the real estate, and this guy was just always talking. It's so much talking, like blah, 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 blah. Everything, story about this and a story about that, and he has this about himself and that about himself. And then when he says something, and I was with him one time, like on an open house, and I was trying, I figure I'm getting to know this guy. So he says something, I interject. I can't even get a half a sentence out before, like, I didn't even make my point yet, and he cut me off and just continued, like as if he knew exactly what I was going to say, and transformed that into his next point. And I'm like, oh, I see how it is. Like, it's going to be like that. So I'm better off just not talking at all. Really, these could be strategies instead of worrying about being ignored. I mean, this is more like strategies to, how to deal with people, generally in conversation and such, right? I'm just mean, like, either you're going to be an active listener. If you're going to be a listener, you're going to listen. You're going to realize right away whether someone is reciprocating in that regard. If they're not reciprocating in that regard, then you know that you're not going to communicate too much further with this person. You're just going to let them talk until they fall asleep. Then maybe you can whisper a few things in their ears and get your appointment across. Let's get your point across. Your personal hygiene might be a bit sketchy. That could be a reason people are ignoring you. I can understand that. If you're stinky, if you're not showering out there, or maybe you got shit dripping out your mouth or nose. I mean, I don't know. Maybe your clothes are all disheveled and stained. Whatever the case may be. People may tend to shy away from you if you're not keeping yourself clean. So if you find that people are ignoring you, maybe go take a bath, put on some deodorant, and then go back out and try again and see if it makes a difference. You're always negative. This can be another reason why where people are ignoring you. Obviously, no one wants to hear negative all the time, right? Like, even me with the show. I mean, I'm not going to come on here every day and talk about the evil people. Blah, blah, blah. I say it sometimes, but we still laugh about it. Because I'm going to reiterate that point. There's nothing negative, right? There's nothing really everything is how you view it. And, just to make it simple, again, because I like to always encompass this type of thought process here on the show, that it's whatever's happening in the world is perfect in its creation by source, no matter how we see it or what we think is wrong with it. And it's really about us finding our way and integrating. That's why I say we observe the status quo, we flow with it because we have to live in this world, and then we create our own flow of quo. It's pretty simple, It's like you just see what's going on, realize that it's all kind of like just a big game, and you don't have to be all wrapped into their nonsense. You create your own way of life. So, but don't be negative. There's nothing to be negative about. And if you feel like you're negative and you're always kind of sharing stories stories that are heavy, or oh, I'm depressed, or oh, and I don't know what the boo. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that energy all energy is contagious. So nobody wants to suck that up. You know what I mean? So, you know, put a smile on your face, go out there, so you can talk honestly. Oh, you know, yeah, I got some challenging times here, a few things going on that have got me a little preoccupied, but I understand that this is part of life, and I'm fine with that. And I'm just going to mitigate those circumstances, work through them, and move on to the next thing, right? Why are we being negative out there, people? Come on, put a smile on your face. Put a smile on your face. Another reason people can ignore you is you may overshare too soon. I will say this. I have to be honest. I was just literally talking about this. I really was talking about this yesterday. I said, I realize when I meet new people, like I really want to say so much, like in a sense of like, I want to genuinely try to make a connection and get to know someone. And it's almost like, you know, the Vulcan mind melt thing, you know, when Spock can, like, you know, get in touch with the brain, you know, the Vulcan mind thing, you know, and I want to like just kind of take my whole essence and my mind and all my experiences, my whole life, and just kind of, you know, shove it into somebody's brain so they know exactly what kind of person I am and who I am. But truthfully, people, you know, it takes time to build relationships, and you have to go step by step. And you know, it's not you don't want to air out your whole life lineage, you know, in one shot, you know. So you know, try to chunk it a little bit to get slow down on getting to know people. You know, if you start telling them too much, like I've noticed it too on the other end, like, you know, people start telling me their whole life story. I'm thinking, damn, like this person doesn't even know me, and they're like saying all this shit. It's just like, I guess they trust me, or, you know, they just need a place to dump, you know? So don't dump on people, you know, be authentic, share what needs to be shared based on the context of the conversation, see where it goes from there. You know, if you have more conversations, then you share a little bit each more. No one's going to get to know you in one shot. So you don't have to prove anything, and you don't have to overshare. And I'm saying that for myself too, because sometimes I feel the way the world is, you know, I want to ingratiate and like let people know that there's good people out there. But then again, I'm trying to be like that to somebody that I don't know, and they might not be a good person. So why am I trying to give so much information? Another reason you might be ignored is you dominate conversations. We all know someone who loves the sound of their own voice a bit too much. Oh my goodness, that might sound like me, right? Dominating conversations and turning every topic back to yourself can deter others from wanting to engage. Conversations are like dances. They require give and take. When one person hogs the floor, it doesn't allow for the natural flow of back and forth. If you often find yourself at the center of every discussion, it might be time to step back and listen more. Remember, every person you meet has a story to tell, insights to share, and experiences that can enrich your own understanding. So, yeah, and that goes back to what I was just saying before about talking to people, and they just keep on going about what they got to say, and you know, they just dominate the conversation. Like, I don't want to talk to people that dominate the conversation. It gets exhausting. It's because really it's not a conversation then. It's just me sitting there, you know, until you're exhausted, you know, and that's exhausting for me, quite honestly. You never make eye contact with anyone. That could be a reason. I mean, well, quite honestly, if you're not making eye contact, the person might not even know that you're engaging with them, right? You could be standing looking up off at the ceiling. Like if I did the show like this the whole time, hey, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing out there? Yeah, we're just doing a little Operation Status Quo. You know, I mean, if I did that, that wouldn't be engaging. Hold on, let me get even. I want to look at you guys. I want to really see you. You see me? I want to really see you. There we go. I love it because that's hilarious. You know, I have the screen up of the show, obviously, and it's on a delay, you know, because I'm doing it through my OBS, and then by the time it comes on YouTube, that's funny. I don't know why I get a kick out of that kind of stuff, but that's funny. You're far too pushy. You're far too pushy. If you're a pushy person, you know, come on, man. Don't be a pushy person. You know, you talk to people, get to know people. If you want to do something, do it. If you want to share something with someone, you know, you could talk to them a little bit, but it's a little too much. It's a little too much. We almost done with these. Let's see how many more. We got a few more. Okay, great. But don't be pushy. You know, obviously being a pushy person is a turnoff, and people are going to back away from you, right? I mean, it doesn't have to. I mean, you have to write an article about that. Again, this is like, you know, social skills, like kindergarten level social skills of what you should be taught. You don't respect people's boundaries. I mean, of course. I mean, and I've experienced that. I mean, I've had multiple people where I've kind of set boundaries because I realize certain things, and then they cross those lines, and then that's it. You know what I mean? That's it. I'm not ignoring you. You just don't respect my boundaries. So how can I participate in a relationship if you're not willing to respect, the boundaries set forth and have understanding of like what my needs are, right? So it's not all just about you people going out there and saying whatever you want. I'm no disrespect. I know you guys in my audience are beautiful human beings that love people and care about people. That's why you're here, and that's why we're all here together. But maybe you run into people like this sometimes, and if you do run into people that ignore you and you feel like you're being genuine, don't take offense, because we go back to one of the other ones I said, and they're just maybe rude and jerks and they don't want to talk, right? You always want to be right. Oh my gosh, isn't that just like most annoying as hell? Like, and I'll speak on it too in a way. Like, of course I like being right in a sense. We all like being right? We have thoughts that we hold on to, opinions that we feel matter, we're passionate about certain things, and then somebody else is totally on the other side, and it's, you want to try to start proving your point. And, I realized that the show I had done, I forgot what it was called, but last week or last Monday it was when I had spoke on that. I had the conversation with a friend of mine, and, through the course of this conversation, even though this person doesn't agree with some of the, especially the conspiratorial things I talk about, they think that I'm out of my mind in certain ways. I realize, like, I start explaining and then I'm saying, and I realize myself, like, I don't have to be right. I don't even know if I'm right. So what's the purpose of trying to prove I'm right if I don't even know? All I know is what I feel and what I observe in the world and what I think is going on and how it resonates with me. But it doesn't mean I'm right. Nobody's right, really, because everybody's right? Everybody's right and everybody's wrong, because it's all just one thing and we all have our own unique perspective. So stop being pushy and telling people what they got to do here. Let's see. We said this already about interrupting. You interrupt people when they're talking. And here's the last one right here. Let's finish up with this one. You're always distracted. If you're constantly looking at your phone, scanning the room, or seeming like your mind is miles away when someone is talking to you, it sends a clear message. You're not fully present. Everyone wants to feel acknowledged and important. By not giving them your undivided attention, it can come across as if you don't value the time or what they have to say. And I will definitely agree with that. I mean, like, come on, for God's sake, if you're talking to somebody, how are you distracted with other stuff? And I'll even say, it's funny because my mom, I'm not busting my mom, but she would do that a lot where I come over to see her a little bit, and she'd be in the middle of a couple things in the house. Maybe she's writing out some bills or doing something, and she doesn't stop. She keeps kind of going, doing her thing, and I try to just talk to her, and then I realize, like, she's never paying attention, or she'll want to talk to me, and then she starts doing something else, and I'm just like, hey, do you want? You let me know when you want to talk. I'll come back. All right? If you're so busy, it's no problem. Don't be distracted. If you're in conversation, you're in conversation. If you're not, you're not. Hey-o. If you got to go, you go. I mean, you know what I mean? You listen and say, listen, I don't want to cut you short. I'm really sorry, but I got a few things I got to take care of. I don't want to be rude. So can we pick this up later? Oh my gosh. Do you believe the crap that they put out there? Are you being ignored? Do you find that these type of behaviors out there in your world? Are you engaged in these type of behaviors? Are you a jerk and not listening to people? Are you negative? Do you overshare? What do you do out there to find that people don't want to talk to you? I'm trying to figure it out, because I'm waiting for some people to start talking to me again. I know it's going to happen, damn it. But you see, that's what we do here on Operation Status Quo. It's just a little bit of a space to kind of look at something, think about something. It's personal improvement. So, really, I talk about this all the time, seriously, at the end, just to end this here, just about self-awareness and, really being mindful of, of that we're all human and we're all here and we all have an experience, and really how we really need to change our structure of mind in a certain way to be more engaging and understanding and compassionate with one another, instead of just thinking the world revolves around you or each individual. The world does not revolve around each individual. I'm trying to say, like, we are one world together. So I think obviously if we were just a little more coherent, compassionate, responsible with our thoughts, reverent, grateful, all those type of things, we wouldn't even need a list like this. People wouldn't ignore you. People, at the very least, they would just be honest. I mean, I'm too busy. I don't like you. I don't feel we vibe the best. I'd rather not communicate with you. I mean, what's wrong with even saying that? Just be honest, right? I don't know, instead of all this. And if, if you're out there just trying to gush on people, you got to hone that in too, right? Because you have to be fulfilled with yourself. It's not about you. You should you feel fulfilled whether you go tell 100 people your story or not, right? So that's what it's all about. All right, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's what I have for you here today on Operation Status Quo. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed yourself. Let me know in the comments. I would appreciate it. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, share, send this out to your friends, your family, those you love, and of course, those you despise as well. I love each and every one of you individually as well as a group. And until tomorrow, Operation Status Quo, you know what's coming. That's right. Disengaged.